This is the brand new Mini Aceman, Mini's new compact electric crossover that slots between the Cooper and the Countryman. So it occupies a handy middle ground in Mini's range of vehicles. Bigger and more practical than the Cooper. It also has 5 doors, but it still has all the cuteness and charm that makes Mini so famous. In this video, I'm going to take a look around inside and outside and take it for a drive. You can get into one of these for about €39,000. That's for the Aceman E. Its battery gives a range up to 308 kilometres measured by WLTP. Then there's the Aceman SE, slightly bigger battery, range up to 408 kilometres. That retails from about €44,500. So these are considered more urban city type of car, not so much the long distance motorway cruiser. There is a John Cooper Works version that retails for about 50,000, but it just has more power. There's the classic, there's the exclusive, and then there's also the sport, like this one. So this, with that larger battery, retails from about €49,000. So it's easy to spend a lot of money on one of these, but they are positioned more that upper end of the market. So think other upmarket electric crossovers like the Volvo EX30, the Alfa Romeo Junior, and also the Smart #1. It's pleasantly chunky when you see it in the metal. It has that classic Mini look. Angular shaped headlamps. It's an angular circle, if there's such a thing, and you've got that very charismatic LED lighting signature in those. This colour is Legend Grey. I think it looks really good in this, particularly with the bits that you get with the sport trim. So there's the blacked out Mini badge. It also has black around that grille and also a John Cooper Works badge. So altogether it's really cool. And lots of chunky cladding there at the bottom as well. So it definitely has attitude. From this angle, you can see that it has those reduced overhangs front and rear for that classic Mini stance on the road. It gets these chunky roof rails and also flush door handles, which help the aerodynamics of the car. Very distinctive wheel arch shape as well. 17-inch wheels as standard, but if you go for the exclusive of the sport, that's 18-inch, and this one is on optional 19-inch. There's some nice detail in those rear lights and a sporty lower bumper on this sport model. Boot space is quite small. It's 300 litres. Now, that's pretty much the same as something like a Volvo EX30. It is a bit more, and a Smart #1 has a bit less. But none of them have huge boots, really, so that is a compromise that you do make with this car. It does have some practical features, like a 12-volt socket. There's also a 2-position floor. Now, at the moment, I have it in the upper position, and I'm slotting the charging cables in under there, but you can let it down the whole way, and you get a little bit more depth to it. You can also let down the rear seats 60-40. It's very quirky and colourful inside, as you would expect from the Mini brand. They're kind of famous for that at this stage. This is the Sport, so it gets this red and black theme inspired by John Cooper Works. There's a lot of recycled materials here in this cabin, but they don't look shabby. The fit and finish is actually really nice, like this fabric here in the dashboard and the doors. The Sport also gets these synthetic leather sport seats, and those are heated. There's also a heated steering wheel and a head-up display. The main event, of course, is this circular touchscreen here in the centre, and underneath it you have the famous Mini toggle switches. They're present and correct, so that's good to see. One for the experiences, which is like the drive modes, and it changes the ambiances of the car as well. Then the power switch, and this one is to select forward and reverse in your parking brake. There's also storage down here. This is a wireless smartphone charging pad, 2 USB-C ports, 2 cup holders, and this little covered box as well, which is really handy. The touchscreen looks great, and there's lots of menus and functionality in there, but there is a heavy reliance on the touch control. So even things like the climate settings, you need to go in there and adjust it, which can be a little bit fiddly because the buttons are quite small, particularly for the heated seats and the heated steering wheel. There is a toolbar which is customizable, so you can save your favourite features to that, and also wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This also has battery preconditioning through the navigation system. So that's great because it will heat up the battery so that you can charge at the optimum rate when you get to the fast charger, which is great when you're driving an electric car. Equipment doesn't come cheap in the Mini, so you do have to spend a bit to add packs to get more equipment. So this one has power adjustment for the front seats, a Harman Kardon sound system, and also a panoramic glass roof with its own blind. This sits on a longer wheelbase than the Mini Cooper, so you get that benefit of more legroom and also of course the benefit of having rear doors. Now it is all relative because it's still quite a compact car, so as you can see that seat's been left back and there's less legroom back here than over there. Headroom as well could be tight, there's not a huge amount extra. Width-wise, I think it'll be more comfortable for 2 rather than 3 on the outer seats. There is a middle seat, but it is on the narrow side. It does come with its own seat belt, however. There are some amenities back here, so there's 2 USB-C ports, a cup holder, pockets in the back of those seats, small door bends, and there's Isofix on the 2 outer seats, and actually also the front passenger seat. No armrest, but you wouldn't really expect that in this compact class. So altogether, the finish is really nice. You've got a little bit more light coming in through that extra window. So it's actually a really nice place to sit. But bear in mind that it's still quite a compact car. So this is built to the same platform as the Mini Cooper Electric, and it's a lot of fun to drive. It has all that classic sporty Mini driving character. Very fluid progressive steering as you turn into corners, and not too much lean, so really good body control as well. 0 to 100 is just 7.1 seconds, so it's very nippy and agile. A 218 horsepower motor sending power to the front wheels, 330 newton meters of torque in this Aceman SE. It's also really quiet here in the cabin, so it's premium levels of refinement. Even out on the motorway, it never gets too noisy. It can bounce a little bit and it never really entirely settles down on the motorway, but there's still that premium edge to the comfort levels. So you don't hear any noise from the suspension. It's not too brittle, but certainly on the firmer side of things, I would say. Through the Mini experiences, you can adjust the drive somewhat, so there's even a go-kart mode, and that of course enhances that classic sporty Mini driving character. There's also a little bit of artificial noise, but you can turn that on or off depending on your preference. There's regen braking, but to adjust that, it's through the touchscreen. There's no paddles behind the steering wheel, which is not as much of a problem as what you might think, because there is an adaptive setting where it intelligently adjusts the amount of regen based on how you're driving. So for example, going into a 50 km/h zone in a town, it will automatically adjust the amount of regen, increase it so that you can slow down the car without having to touch the brake. So it actually works pretty well. This uses a 49.8 kilowatt hour battery, not a huge battery in this day and age, and I think that's reflected in both the estimated range figures but also the real world range that I've been getting from the car this week. So they say up to 398 kilometres measured by WLTP here in the Aceman SE Sport. My consumption this week has averaged at 16.2 kilowatt hours per 100 k's, which translates to a real world range of about 307 kilometres. So it's okay, but it's not amazing. Again, you'll find other EVs at this price and less with better range. But none of them are a Mini, of course, and I think this has been designed as a small urban runabout or maybe a second car for family, and that it does really very well, but maybe not the best choice if you're looking for a long distance motorway cruiser. There's 11 kilowatt AC charging, and DC fast charging is up to 70 kilowatt in the Aceman E and up to 95 kilowatt in the Aceman SE. Again, not amazing DC fast charging figures, but Mini says 10 to 80% charge in about 31 minutes. But again, there are EVs that will charge faster than this. So that's all from the cabin of the new Mini Aceman. You can read more over on changinglanes.ie, and I'll left a link in the description below the video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.